I can't wait until this happens. I can't wait until I get married. I can't wait until my marriage gets better. I can't wait until I have this baby. I can't wait until I get promoted or I get the job. And God was just like, why are you waiting?
Yeah. Welcome to the Finally Healed podcast, where we prioritize mental health, self-care, and embracing our healing journey together. Now, this is one of those episodes where you need to prepare yourself. You might need some tissues because you're about to laugh, you're about to cry. I think you're about to be taken on a journey because we are talking about to whom much is given, much is required. So we're going to be talking about capacity. We're going to be talking about being an influential woman. And when I think about a woman of leadership, of capacity, who is a wife and a mother and a prayer warrior and has led so many people at such a high level, the first person that comes to mind is our guest. Give it up for Candis, Quinney.
Hey family, I'm so excited to be here. Jessica, thank you so much for having me today. And like you say, I'm getting ready for this because I know it's going to be healing for me, the conversation. So I'm excited for it. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are so honored to have you. So when I think about a woman that holds a lot of responsibility, I first start thinking about your childhood, the woman that you came from. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. And I want to know if at any point in your childhood you already felt called.
Girl, okay, we really about to jump right into it. But honestly, Jessica, if you just give me a second, I just want to talk to the audience, and even before y'all hear my story, I want you to let you know that I love you. I really love you. And I see you. Does that make sense? So even as I tell my story, I want you to take a moment and get close to your story, right? Because we all are in this journey together. So Jessica, and even when you were talking, you're this woman. I'm looking at me, but I'm looking at you wow, and all the things you accomplished. So it's an honor to even just sit here with you and see you shine and get to feel your love and your presence. So thank you. But to your question about, growing up and just kind of my background. So I'm from Detroit, Michigan. So young girl from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. I was born to a single mom, strung out on crack cocaine, running the city of Detroit, doing everything that she needed to, get her next hit, right? Thank God my grandma was still alive and she was available to help my mom. Does that make sense? So my mom at the time, I am the second oldest of 7 kids. And my mom had 6 different dads, 6 different baby fathers. So my grandma was the glue keeping us all going and making sure we were taken care of. So as my mom was dealing with her addiction, it was my grandma who really held it down for me early in my experience, right? And I always think of my grandma as the gift, or her passing away was almost like the gift and the curse, because it was a gift because I was so thankful that I had her and she was so amazing in our life. But it was almost a curse because as long as she was there, the people, my mom, wouldn't be forced to do what needed to be done for herself and, get into recovery. So yeah. So my upbringing, Detroit, hard, basically survival, right? Not knowing when I'm going to see my mom, not knowing when I was going to talk to my mom, not knowing the state that she was going to be in. But the beautiful thing early on is my grandma sat me down at the age of maybe 3 or 4. I don't remember. And she taught me how to pray. And it wasn't all these rules and regulations. She just gave me this very simple prayer. And I think, it's not in the Bible. So I'm like, where does this prayer come from? And I think some of us might have been taught it as we were kids, but it's basically now lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. God bless everybody. Amen. But then my grandma said at the end of that prayer, add a little prayer for your mom at the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you said called, that was my little assignment that I got when I was 3 years old, 4 years old, was to, grandma said, I got to pray this prayer every night. And then I am going to pray for my mom after I say this prayer. So that at the youngest age, if you could say that was a calling, but I was called to pray for my mom.
And if you think about that as children, we know what's going on with our parents, whether they're doing well or not. My mom had vertigo when I was a kid, so she would sleep a lot because she was dealing with the dizziness and some of the challenges. And so I used to pray for her that she would be healed and that she would be able to get up and be okay. So we do feel the weight of those responsibilities, you know, as a child. And I think that's amazing that she gave you the most powerful weapon that you can have is prayer. Right. So that is quite the gift. So how do you go from that upbringing to beating survival? You see what I'm saying? No, seriously though, because sometimes you kind of have two options, right? Yeah. There's some people who are raised in those environments and they become a product of their environments. Yeah. And there's other people that, you know, move on, transition, and really live a life of purpose, like their own route. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big question. Like how do you get from that to, and just dealing with that, and then all the way to, you know, our life now? Like I'm incredible. Like I couldn't even have dreamed of the life that I have right now. Married, 2 beautiful children, wealth, you know, can go trips, all the great experiences. I love it. But have you ever, I mean, I know you've heard of it, but what is your thoughts on the term, like the rich get richer? Like, do you ever think about that? Like, do you think that that's true? Like the rich get richer. Okay. Yeah. So if the rich get richer, then what do you say about my story? Because it's the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. Yeah. So what, am I an exception to that rule, would you say?
I think it's how you choose to identify yourself.
Yes.
So I don't believe just based on the environment that you're raised in but if you're like, you know what, I am, because my mom grew up in Detroit, and she was like, I'm about to make it out. Yeah. I want to move my kids to Ann Arbor. I'm going to get educated. Like, she came up with a plan as a child. Yes. So it was like, she was like, I don't care where I came from. I'm going to produce wealth. Yeah. So I think it's the mindset that you have. If you feel like you're rich, like it really is based on your perspective anyways. So if you feel rich, then you're going to get richer and richer and richer. But if you got that poor mindset, it's just going to keep bringing you down.
Exactly. You just took it out of my hands. So for me, even though I was in that type of environment where it was like, hey, struggle. So not a long story short, but my mom did eventually get recovered. Like she did go into recovery and she did beat her addiction, right? Through the grace of God. Like that's a whole incredible, a phenomenal testimony. If you ever get a chance to hear my mom's testimony. So probably like 4 years later after I started to pray for her. Yeah. So during that time, my whole upbringing, I always had the perspective of I have much. Mm-hmm. Like I am rich. Yeah. Not because of all these other things. Like because I have a lot. It was because I have one thing that's good. So when what my grandma gave me that prayer, that was something. Does that make sense? Yeah. And to me, that was so big because she was my grandma. She was like Big Mama. I mean, she wasn't physically big, but she was the overall, the woman of the family, like, you know, made sure all taken care of. And so she specifically set me to the side and gave me this gift, even though it was a prayer. I just was like it was like a superpower. Yeah. Like, okay, so for me, I was rich even from that moment at 3-4 years old. I had something. Yeah. And it was so significant, so big for me. And I love how my grandma did it. She gave it to me, and it actually made me think I need to do something better with my kids because I'm teaching them how to pray, but you got to give them an assignment with it. That's good. So when you opened up the call, or not the call, but the podcast with to whom much is given, much is required, it's the second part. Yeah. That's how you build the wealth, is you have to first know that you have been given much, right? So I knew that I had been given a gift from my grandma in prayer. Well, the latter was how you activate it. Much is required, right? So she gave me something to do, meaning, okay, this is much you're getting, but what's required is that you pray for your mom. Yeah. Does that make sense? And you do it every day. So by doing that, so every little thing that came into my hand, I was like, okay, this was a gift. Yeah. What am I going to do with it to steward it well, to take advantage of it, to make the most out of whatever little opportunity, no matter how small it was, to make it more or to steward it. So that's what I would say is like taking your time, looking at each situation, and always, I don't know if it's now in my 30s, I know it's a gift, but it used to be something that was negative. But I intentionally and on purpose look for the good in every single thing.
That is such a
right.
blessing.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about you, and this allows me to know you on such a deeper level, because if it's time to pray, Candis gonna pray. You know what I'm saying? Like your husband CJ be like, where Candis at? Y'all need prayer? Candis got you. Candis. But just think about the prayers that have been stacked up since 3 years old and how they have compounded is so powerful.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about your college experience, because when you think about a shift in identity, right? When you grow up in a kind of a challenging environment and then you go to college, that could be a huge jump, because I don't feel like people really properly prepare students for that transition. So how did that even feel, kind of navigating that new environment?
Yeah, so incredible question. And the crazy thing about me with college is my shift started to happen before college. So if we go back to, my mom, I said my mom got clean, right? So my mom is clean. She's doing better. I'm 8. Or over the time, so my grandma ended up, I just need to catch it up really quick. So my grandma passes away when I'm 6. So she teach me how to pray when I'm 3, 4. She passes away when I'm 6. Within a year, all of my siblings are in foster care. I'm shipped off to live with my dad, which I don't really know or have a relationship with. And life is like, it's crazy. Wow. So then a year after that, my mom got clean and she was able to, through grace, mercy, get all the kids back, including me. So I was like, okay, amazing. We're back. Great story, great testimony, but my mom is still a single mom in Detroit raising 7 kids on the east side. Wow. Like this with all the goodness that happened, this still ain't no walk in the park.
Yeah.
And so my mom, when my mom got us back, I said, Ma, you're not going to have to worry about me. Like, you got 7 kids, 2 girls, 5 boys that you got to worry about, that you got to feed, that you got to make sure we're taken care of. Like, don't worry about me. And I don't know what that meant. I said that, and I was like, right,
you know what I mean? You was like, I got to be the one.
I got to, at least all I know is all these other kids got a lot going on, but I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of me. And we got to deal with that. We got to unwind that later. Because I don't know if that was that healthy. But then, so I started looking for ways, how would I be able to change the way that we're living, right? And I didn't know. I was just like, okay, go to school, do my best. But one day, I got a bunch of older cousins. So this might have been middle school going into high school. Okay. My cousin was graduating. My mom came home and was like, oh, these kids, they had got all these scholarships. They were going to college. They're going to do all these different things. And so I'm hearing these things like, man, this is going to be my way to get us out of the hood and to be able to do things for our family. So I immediately, like something, like a switch clicked in my brain, is like, college. You will go to college. You're going to make money. You're going to set the change for your family. And so at that point, I began to take school even more serious, because I'm like, okay, so what did they do? They had straight A's. They had this. They had to get involved. I got involved in everything. I did sports. I worked a job. I'm like, every single checkbox that you need to do to get a college scholarship, which I didn't fully know. I'm just going to do it. Right. And so when I I already had that mindset early. Right. Does that make sense? I think Michigan State, when I graduated and went off to college, it was more of it wasn't really identity thing for me. It was just more of a culture shock. You know what I mean? Coming from Detroit, going to a predominantly white institution. Detroit is 90% black, and all my friends were black. So that was like a culture shock. But I think, I didn't really have like a crazy identity, because my thing at that point was just go. Yeah. Does that make sense? It was just survive, just keep going. So I didn't even if I was in shock, I didn't have a chance to stop. Does that make sense? Because it was like the mission was still the same. I needed to make sure that my family eats, and that mission hasn't been accomplished yet. So let me keep going.
So how do you process that level of pressure? And is that something that continued to be a theme in your life?
I don't know.
Or did you not even identify that as, because that's a lot. No, like to be a kid and be like, I'm gonna put everything on my back. And to be honest, a lot of black women, we do that.
Right. Okay. This is a great question, but it goes back to what we were saying in the main scripture: to whom much is given, much is required. So and sometimes I get a little selfish, right? Like, I have in my mind, I have been given so much.
Yeah.
So this this pressure feels like nothing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I have so much to give.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, let's break this down. So you're telling me your mom was drug out, you know, you got 6 other siblings, and we're not even talking. I haven't even gotten to my daddy's side. Like, that's a whole nother level of stuff going on over there. You know, we growing up Section 8 housing, welfare, seeing people get murdered next door, drug dealing, all this stuff. You growing up, and you're telling me I'm at Michigan State University on a full-ride scholarship, living in like Michigan. The campus of East Lansing is like a Christmas town. It's like everybody's happy, smiling, waving at you. Trees, it's beautiful, it's lush. It's so pressure.
Yeah.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
The gift is, oh my gosh. So I didn't feel any pressure. I felt honored. I felt like knighted. Like, hey, you've been given this opportunity. Let's do something with it. Let's be responsible over it. Yeah. So that's kind of how I looked at it. And I think that's the perspective that I carried throughout my whole journey. And even that quote that I didn't even know it was a scripture. To whom much is given, much is required. Yeah. I don't know where I found it. I was in high school. I didn't grow up in a church. My grandma taught me how to pray, but we weren't in a church.
It did a little bit of a difference.
Right, exactly. But, and I remember I don't know what I was doing, but somehow I stumbled upon a quote that just says nobility, or a life motto that says nobility obligates. So the noble among us, the people who are wealthy, the people who are royal, they have a responsibility to steward it and to help and to give. So and I just love that, right? But I didn't know, as I went deeper, I was like, oh, this is biblical, like, and it's in the Bible, and this represents. So for me, I always felt like I had much. Yeah. And people are like, how do you think you had much? Well, even a little bit. What is much? Right. How do you define that? One, if I have one, right, I don't care how that could be much compared to zero.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Yep. So I think life and what we go through is constantly about keeping things into perspective. You have much. Yeah. And I think that is my heart, for so many of my sisters, play sisters, real sisters, play cousins, so many women who are in this life right now. And, what you're going through at home is like, wow. It was funny. I was on the way here and I was listening to John Legend song, All of Me. But there's a point in the song where he says, my head is underwater, but I'm doing fine. Yeah. How do you do that? Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. But you can only do that if your perspective and your focus is right. Does that make sense? So you could be completely underwater. Everything around you could be blowing up, throwing up. I mean, just a mess. Yeah. Complete chaos. Yeah. But you're fine because your perspective is right. You're locked in. In his scenario, he's locked in on love. Yeah. He's locked in on, I got this one good thing going for me. So if you lock on that one good thing going for you, it has the power if you allow it to produce something incredible for you. That's so good. So that's the.
And I always think about the woman with the oil. She used what she had, and so much was. And I think so often we focus on what we don't have, and that's for somebody out there who's looking at your life. It's looking like, man, the money ain't right, the relationship ain't right. But what do you have? And there's always going to be. I always say there's at least one thing that you can be grateful for, and you might have to hold on to that thing. There have been many seasons I'm holding on to that one thing with everything I got. Like, that just gonna have to be enough. Like, Jesus and that one thing I got to be grateful for, like, that might be enough, and that might sustain you when you're in those survival seasons.
And to your point, like, don't even say that it might be enough.
It's going to have to be.
It is enough. Your mindset has to change to be like, no, you have to be excited about that thing that you got. You understand? Like, it's nothing else. Like, whatever it is. And sometimes the only thing you might have is Jesus. Right. It might not be Jesus and a job. It might not be Jesus and a kid. Right. It might just be Jesus, and that is incredible. You understand? Yep. So it's like, whatever you do have, you just got to go all out on it. There's no, and one of the things I learned at a very young age, and again, we're talking about one thing. So even though we were dealing with all this stuff with my mom and, her getting recovered, we were still struggling, not having, enough, worried about bills, worried about the light staying on. I remember going to school, and one of my classmates, I might have been second grade, third grade, one of my classmates saying, oh, just talking about all his clothes, like, oh, he got new shoes. I got a million Jordans. You know, we're from Detroit, so we get ingrained very young. You gotta look good. You gotta dress. You gotta wear your outfits. You gotta have your J's on, your gaiters on. If you've grown, you gotta just be clean.
Yeah.
And so he would come to school and be like, I got all these shoes, I got all these clothes, I got all this stuff. And I used to be like, man, that's so dope. Like that's great. Like I'm happy for you. And I was like, man, I don't got all that, and I was kind of feeling down on myself, like, man, I don't got all the stuff he has. And I just remember him like one other day he came to school and he was kind of sad. I'm like, dang, what's going on, bro? And he was just like, I don't ever see my mom. You know what I mean? Like, she's never home. She's always working. Like, you know, my dad, you know, so even with everything that he had, at that point, I was like, man, I'm so grateful for my mom. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, I don't got none of that other material stuff, but I'm thankful that I got a mom who loves me. Even in what we went through, I'm so grateful for that. And that just made my world change. It's like, you never look at somebody else and be clocking what they got and be like, I wish I had that. You have no idea what that person is going through. Zero idea. And so for me, at the age of whatever age you're at, when you're in second, third grade, I realized you don't know. So don't compare. I kind of start telling myself life is fair. It's balanced out. It might seem like it's not, but I told myself, and again, I created my own narrative. It's balanced. So if somebody has all this over here, it's something else that they don't have that you can't see.
That's true.
And so I would always balance the scale back in my mind.
That's
you know
good.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So for everybody listening, it's like, no, you have more than enough. And if you are a believer, like, I get it, if you're not a believer, we got to take maybe a different approach. We got to get you over to the believing side. But for my believers, like, the word of God says that I've already given you everything you need to live the life I've called you to live. You already have it. It's already in you. You don't have to wait. And we talked about this. We said, my pet peeve phrase. I don't know if you talk about pet peeve phrases, but my pet peeve phrase is, I can't wait until. I can't wait until I can't wait until this happens. I can't wait until I get married. I can't wait until my marriage gets better. I can't wait until I have this baby. I can't wait until I get promoted or I get the job. And God was just like, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting? What do you think is going to happen when you get that thing?
Exactly.
So if you're looking for peace, you're looking for security, you're looking for the big things that's really going to make your life different, you can have those things right now. So what are we waiting for? You can activate it right now. And so that is kind of the heart of kind of how I, approach everything.
I love that. I remember when God was giving me the revelation on that. He was like, every time you say, I can't wait, you're actually releasing anxiety into the air.
Wow.
Like, you're not actually present.
Yeah.
You're always in the future. You can't wait. And it's like a sense of anxiety.
Yeah.
And he was like, and so because he's the opposite of that with peace and everything like that, is pushing things actually further because you can't wait.
Yeah.
So waiting is your portion. So for anybody who's been saying that and you don't want waiting to be your portion, like, change that language. Like, the language that you speak matters so much, you know.
Yes.
When you think about stewardship and balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a wife, you're a mother, entrepreneur, in ministry, you got all of these, almost somebody would say, like, balls that you're juggling, you know what I mean? Like, boo, 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 boo. And you're trying to be a good steward over what God gave you, but you're also trying to not lose yourself. I think that happens a lot with women. You look up and you're like, man, I'm taking care of everybody else but myself. So how do you steward the gifts you've been given, but also make sure you're balancing so that you don't lose yourself in all of that?
No. It's a great question. And I wish I had an answer to it.
Yeah. Listen, the millions, that's our answer, okay?
No, but I would say is that with all of this, it's constantly a journey, right? And what I look at life is like, life is crazy. Life is a mess. Life is too much. Like, life be life and it be given way more than what we expect it to give. But one of the key things for me is, I just say, Lord, it's too much. It's literally too much. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. And it's overwhelming. And when I realize is that's by design. It's on purposely too much.
Yeah.
It's on purpose. By design, it's out of balance.
Yeah.
So that you have to come to him to get your balance.
Yeah.
So for me, the only way that I'm able to manage anything, right,
Yeah.
well, is I have to bring it to God, right? And I'll give you an example. So God has taken me through different seasons of my life with my walk and how I spend time with him and what my quiet time looks like. In one season, God said, okay, Candis, so I was leading ministries. I was leading our intercessory prayer team, and shout out to anybody who's ever served on an intercessory prayer team. Like, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Like, that's not easy work.
Yeah.
So, but because I was on intercessory prayer team, I was praying all the time over everybody. I would get all the prayer requests, pray over the prayer requests. And so my quiet time in the morning was all prayer requests of people from our church and from just people that I met covering their prayer requests. And if I'm honest, I didn't really pray for my family. Like, I wasn't praying for my husband. I wasn't praying for my children. I wasn't even praying for me because I'm like, I got to get all these prayer requests. And God, like, snatched me up one day and was like, because I was looking at myself like a firefighter. Like, I got to put out all these fires. I'm praying. Everything is getting better. Like, people are getting better. We're seeing testimonies, miracles. And then I was like, and God was like, I see, you kind of look at yourself like a firefighter. And I was like, yeah, so my family good. Because they good. They don't need me. Like, my kids are doing well. My husband's doing well. I don't really need to focus over there. And God was like, if you don't start watering them, they're going to get on fire. They're going to be on fire if you don't water them. You can't wait till they're on fire to water them. You got to start watering them now. And so God gave me a strategy where he's like, in the morning, before you do anything else, you have your quiet time with me, and I want you to write down Candis, your husband, CJ, Trey, Avery. Write those names down, right? Pray over them, and then I want you to sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and write down what you feel bubbling up in your spirit. That's right? Good. What you feel me saying, what you hear me saying, write that down for each one of them. After that's done, you can go pray for everybody else, right? And when I tell you, that was a game-changing strategy for my life. One morning, just as a testimony, one morning, God downloaded me like 10 things for CJ. I was like, God, what's going on? Because normally it's like 1 or 2 things per person. And I was like, 10 things for him today that I need to do or need to follow up on. Because it'll be like, oh, make sure, follow up on this, hug Avery, like, do this activity, Avery, sign Avery. It would just be like different tasks that God has given me for my family to do. And it was 10 things for CJ. And I was like, dang, literally, I'm done with my quiet time, but I'm still sitting in the office. CJ walks into the door and starts drilling me. Doop, 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 doop. Every single thing I already had on the list. Does that make sense? Yeah. Every single thing that I already thought about God. Now, I'm from Detroit. First of all, that's crazy energy you just brought into this room. Does that make sense? Like, bro, like, whoa, why are you coming at me like that first thing in the morning asking me all these questions? But God already knew what type of time he was going to be on. Does that make sense? Yep. So he prepared me. He laid it out for me. So I was able to graciously be like, baby, I got those things. Yes. What do you need? Yeah. They're already here. I already thought about them. I already know how we're going to attack all of these. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, when you talk about balance, the strategy isn't, oh, I got to make sure I always got this, my checklist, da-da-da. It's like, no, God literally prepared that. Even one time I had to do it again because I got off track another year. I was doing it and I did it for Avery, and Avery said, Mom, or that morning for Avery, God told me to write down, listen to her. And I was like, listen to Avery, like, what does I gotta do anything? And then later on that day, we were all home, and I had the kids cleaning up their rooms, and Avery was in the back of one of our guest rooms, and she had made a mess. I'm like, Avery, go clean up the guest room, and I'm going to help Trey upstairs, because, I already helped you with your room. I'm helping him with your room. You straight up the guest room. And so she's down there, and I hear the vacuum coming on. I hear it come back down, and I'm like, what? Something's weird going on down there. Let me go check on her. So I go downstairs, and Avery is sitting on the bed with her head down, crying, like, not crying, but like I could tell like something's wrong. So I'm like, but Avery, what's going on? Like, why are you sad? And she was like, well, I just feel like sometimes you don't listen to me. Okay. If God would not have told me to listen to Avery, that conversation would have went completely different. Because I would have been like, Avery, you're being extra. Right. What are you talking about? Like, mommy be looking out for you. Like, all the stuff that we're doing. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, I'm here every single day. Like, you're right here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and so, but when God said, listen to her, I was like, oh shoot, like I would have missed that if I hadn't got that download for God. So I feel like for me, my center is, as long as I'm in alignment with him and he's telling me what to do, I gotta let everything else go. You understand? And he will give you for whatever season. That's just one strategy. As I find myself in different seasons, he gives me a new strategy on how to navigate everything that's going on.
Girl, that's so good. I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna steal that. Okay. Second of all, that's gonna be our healing moment, because alignment is key.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But also writing out specifically the people in your family. Waiting. Because there's one thing to write out the names, right?
Yeah.
There's another thing to rush through it. He's like, no. Sit with it.
Sit.
And then act upon it. So I think if everyone watching this, and also having that a part of your morning routine, because that sets the day, right? Because we're so quickly to be like, oh, I can pray for this person and that person this much. Like, cover your house first. Seek me first.
Yes.
Everything first, and then everything else will be aligned. So that's really good.
Yeah.
I want you to leave us with a message for the woman that's still feeling overwhelmed. And maybe even regrets that they're called. Regrets the assignment. Because, you can get in your head of like, why me? Why do I always got to be the strong one? Every year I get signed up for the strong plan of God. Like, what in the world? Like, I just want to be a regular person. Like, give her a word of encouragement.
Yeah. So I want to say that, like, I see you, like same way that I started off this call. Like, I see you. I love you. And the biggest thing you have to know is that you're not alone. Like, you are not alone. Jessica has community. There's so many communities that you can be a part of. You need to take those opportunities serious, because having that and we didn't even get, like, even before the podcast, me and Jessica was just talking about the importance of community and just having people in your life to cover you, to help you to walk in your calling. Your calling is too big for you. Yeah. So maybe that's why you're feeling overwhelmed. It should be overwhelming, because you're thinking about what you're going to do, right? So it's not about what you're going to do. It's what's God going to do, right? Like, I look at like, dang, God, you got a calling for me. That's your calling. Like, you're going to do it, not me, God. So thank you. So I think it's really taking the time with God and sitting with that calling and asking him, okay, what's my part? And and God, he knows how much you can handle. You focus on your part, and I'm 1000% confident, 100% sure, beyond 100%, that he's going to make sure everything else with that calling is taken care of. And even if, so I was in a situation, Jessica, where God revealed to me my calling, but I was like 10 years early. He revealed to me 10 years before it was supposed to happen. And I was so mad. I was like, God, why would you show me that if it's not going to happen, right? I was upset at God. Like, I don't understand how this is going to happen. And God, so he revealed to me the calling, but he also told me, hey, I got the timing. Yeah. The word of God says, God will fulfill his purpose for you. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for you. Yeah. Who's fulfilling the purpose? And does it say Candis? It say you will fulfill your
right.
It says the Lord.
The Lord.
So if you're overwhelmed by your calling, it's because you're thinking about you fulfilling it, and it's not on you. Your job is to be available. Your job is to show up, and your job is to trust. And your job beyond all of that is to know how much you're loved. Like, God loves you. And that's the thing that he wants to show you and prove to you more than anything. And he's just going to use your calling to love you more. So that's it.
No, that's good. Yeah. And you can do this, sis. You know what I'm saying? Like, at times it might feel overwhelming. I'm going to tell you that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you start to feel that weight. The weight is a reminder that God is there to take it. That's why it says to cast your cares on the Lord. So when it's starting to feel heavy, to me, that's that tap to be like, no, let me give that over to you. And then also it reminds me, it's time to delegate. I want you to be real honest with yourself, because what I realize when I'm doing stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing, I'm not called to do, and I'm not relying on the people that God has put into my life. Now I'm not even operating in my God-given calling. And that's why I'm so tired, because I ain't even supposed to be doing some of this stuff. So really have a honest conversation with yourself on what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be releasing, so that you can truly live the life you deserve. Well, Candis, I am so grateful and honored that you were able to bless us with your presence on the podcast.
Yeah.
Please let everybody know where they can stay connected with you.
Oh, yes. Just I don't want to say follow me, so follow him. But if you need help following him, you can find me on IG at Candis Quinney. That's it. CandisQuinney.
Yeah, and you might see a sneak peek of her on the S2S podcast or the kids.
Yes.
Talk about the karaoke though, real quick on the way out.
Oh,
We gotta throw that in as a bonus because the Quinney karaoke is one of my favorite things. I be minding my business on social media and I see them in the car singing. So
yeah, you know what? It started on Friday nights. You know, we live in a device society, so every time we get in the car, Atlanta is big. We're always traveling. It takes an hour to get there. It's like, okay, kids, bring the iPad in the car, and they got on their iPads. And we just start saying, you know what? No more iPads in the car. Like, let's just listen to some music. Y'all gonna have to listen to some of our old music. And so it really was birthed out of us just wanting to spend time with our kids. And saying, okay, y'all need to learn this song. This song is so good. We knew all the words to these songs when we was little. And we were like, okay. And it started with Mary by, what was it? Mary, How Could You Go? Whatever. By Music Soul Child. I was like, if y'all can get this breakdown in letters, MAR, like, if you can do it, we're going to give you like $10. And then it just created something amazing for our family. So we enjoy doing that so much.
So make sure y'all stay tuned into their family adventure because it has blessed my entire soul. This has been another episode of the Finally Healed podcast with Jessica Lundy. Make sure you connect with me at Jessica Lundy TV and at Finally Healed Pod. If you enjoyed this episode, don't be selfish. Share this with a sister who knows they need to see this. And remember, you got this.